New alpha build brings in the amazing Ravendreth zone paired up with a beautiful looking Halls of Atonement dungeon. You also get to see the new human customization options and the future of WoW on consoles. Hello there, we are MarcelianOnline and we do class guides and WoW news on a weekly basis, and if you're into that, be sure to drop us a like and maybe throw a comment.
Yeah man, it really helps out massively. And now, on with the show! Yes, with the new alpha build you can finally take a glimpse at what Revendreth is all about, and man, let me tell you, no WoW expansion has ever delivered a zone packed with so much darkness. As one of my favorite WoW devs, Johnny Cash, put it, it's something more elegant, something more gothic. Why am I quoting Johnny Cash, you're asking? Well, it's important here because he was the mastermind behind the artifact weapons, Stormsong Valley, Bastion, among others, so him being involved with Revendreth should give you a good indication of the quality and atmosphere going into the new zone. I mean, just look at it. You cannot help but feel that this time around, WoW's dev team isn't looking that much on catering to a younger audience, finally, and are taking all the possible routes to address you as the adult in the room. Yes, WoW has its limitations regarding that, and it will still be a PG-13 game, but you have to give props where it's due because sure, you can think of dark and edgy places when looking back at the Broken Isles in Legion, and Ice Crown Citadel in Wrath, but really, nothing can compare to this bloody, Bram Stokery vibe you get from Revendreth. The venthyr look absolutely creepy and fit the theme perfectly, as their role in the Shadowlands is to punish the unworthy and help sinful souls to rehabilitate and send them back to the Arbiter. Apart from them, you can also find Dreadbats, Gargons, and Stoneborns. Stoneborns are what you would normally call gargoyles, and they're creepy as fuck too, having the role of fighting the Venthyr's enemies. Also, the music and sound effects make this full circle. I mean, just take a moment and listen a bit. The alpha footage you're seeing now is missing a lot of the cutscenes and dialogue from all the quests, as it is typically in any alpha build, and those are the only remaining things that would miss from this very dark picture Revendreth is portraying. You can clearly see there is a lot of work put into these zones, and one of the biggest wins here is that after you hit max level, you can carry on with one of these zones by selecting your covenant and pushing content and story even further. I mean, you'll not forget about it after you reach level 60 and carry on with your raids and dungeons and shit. And this because Bliss promised in-game quests and progression within the covenant you went with. This on top of the soulbinds you will want to get, and everything will tie in with you coming back to the zone again and again. They kind of compared this to be similar to the class order halls and the questlines associated with those back in Legion. So yay! All in all, as we are still waiting for our alpha invites, and shout out to Stan the Patreon for helping us again with the footage, you can safely say that this is looking very promising. Or wouldn't you? Hey, you have the comment section below to speak your mind, so go ahead!
The alpha build has been hit this week with the new dungeon as well, and boy, does it change my mind about the whole Ravendreth zone. To be fair, I wasn't interested enough to look for artwork and things, since I reserved these are just for when we actually have the zones in game, which we do now. If you thought that Revendreth gave you a Castlevania feel, then the Halls of Atonement will definitely confirm it. Not only that, the inspirations for it, at least at first glance, seem to stem from the Bloodborne game as well. What is Bloodborne, you ask? Well, it's a very dark, very brutal, very punishing RPG with an iconic combat style that is not relevant to what we are discussing today. What is relevant is the art style and the atmosphere. This intense gothic architecture with the dark tones and bright spell effects add a nice contrast, as well as the overall ominous atmosphere present in the dungeon. The fact that they are actively limiting the color palette is also something I am 100% behind. it adds to the immersion, and things that need to stand out will really stand out. Aesthetics aside, the dungeon layout seems really well done to counteract the restrictive and linear feel of the BFA dungeons and Legion dungeons as well. Although dungeons in and of themselves are supposed to be linear zones as far as their fantasy goes, having an open court leading inside a dark cathedral is definitely a welcome change. First, what we can clearly see is that the mob density has been reduced to what looks like something we can manage with the AoE cap implemented in Shadowlands. This opens up design avenues into making mobs not only interesting individually in terms of encounters, but also manageable. Coming from Legion, BFA seemed to add too many important mobs, where every mob in a pack had to either be interrupted, stunned, kited, or CC'd in any other way. That's not normally a problem until you realize to make up for the timer in a Mythic Plus you have to pull so many of these, which Blizzard clearly doesn't want to happen in Shadowlands. Although it's early to tell yet with the fact that Mythic Plus isn't open yet, by looking at the pace of the dungeon, we might have to pull small packs that will most likely reward us with more, hopefully overall trash percentage. The devs already said that about a year ago in a Q&A, that they don't like the fact that we are skipping so much trash. That was clearly evident from the subsequent nerfs to Shroud and the new 8.3 affix that literally says, okay, we get it, you have to skip and we cannot change that based on how we designed the dungeons. So here, skip everything you want. Take that into account, the target cap reduction, and you have the encounter design of Halls of Atonement, where you have to kill shards of Halkias to get to the first boss, and you roam the pretty big courtyard killing vampires, gargoyles, and giant freaking bats. I think at this point we should not be surprised anymore that the art team is doing crazy good work with the environment, but dear lord, if this doesn't look good. So many details added everywhere really makes you think you are in a Bloodborne city fighting towards getting to the boss. More like this, please. What do you think though? Bloodborne or Castlevania?
And in today's comment of the day, we have Joel, and he typed,
Really hyped. Thank you guys. You are a truly beacon of light in these dark times we get to live.
Oh man, I don't want no more RNG. I want more class builds. I want WoW to be fun again. Ian, please, if you give me this, I promise I won't play Havoc anymore.
PvP vendors! Plus some pruning! No more Titan forging! And Havoc gets Mortal Strike.
Ah, fuck. Listen, I know you like playing Horde, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you want to go Alliance in Shadowlands, and if you don't have enough incentives for it now, how about the brand new customizations data mined for humans? No, seriously, you're right to say that this is long overdue, but come on, these hairstyles actually look like something more accurate, modern, present day. Even from a fantasy point of view, the same old raggedy ass hairstyles look super outdated and almost always got you to have a transmog helmet on, right? Well, look at them now. It's clear that after the many years of Blizzard neglecting what most of their competition understood a long time ago, they are finally providing options for you to personalize and individualize your characters more than ever before. And these are only the first stages of data mining on the topic. The Geralt looking hairstyle is very welcome and probably what a lot of us will be rocking because, hey, if you never played The Witcher, then you should probably immediately go ahead and try it. Or at least try the TV series on Netflix. Oh, and you have to give them props for all the dreadlock hairstyles covering those Vikings and Jamaican fans alike. New colors, skin tones, and facial expressions are coming up, so how about it? Is this enough for you to make an Alliance tune? Or are you waiting for more customization for the Horde races? Let me know in the comments, baby.
There have been speculations over the years that WoW was going console soon. It was treated as kind of a meme and a joke at how dumbed down and pruned the game became. Well, if anything, Shadowlands is becoming less so, which is a breath of fresh, complex air that a lot of us are grateful for. That and actual gamepad support. Wait, what? Listen, there have been gamepad support add-ons running in the game for a while now, where you can bind abilities to actual Xbox, DualShock, and Steam controllers with console port, as an example. Although this is an interesting way to play the game, it was always just an add-on. Blizzard has clarified that they are indeed looking into making the game more accessible on controllers, but not necessarily because people want it, or because the game is simple enough where you don't have a lot of buttons to press. No, it's actually to support players with disabilities. Increasing the game's accessibility has always been an item on Blizzard's to-do list. And even if it's for financial reasons, it is for financial reasons, or if it's just to cater to more people so they can enjoy the game, financial reasons, this is a good thing, a win-win example. Although the details are scarce at the moment, one of the examples given was that the game will look towards supporting the Xbox adaptive controller that Microsoft released recently, not really that recently, for people who are having physical problems using the standard versions and the standard keyboard and mouse. It's an interesting direction the game is going. I always had a hard time envisioning controllers capturing the full range of options you can have as far as keybinds go, since if we are being completely honest here, there are plenty of specs with more buttons than a controller would have, and that aside, we ourselves keep making macros to add more options represented by even more buttons, so really interested to see how this will turn out in the end.
Man, Revendreth looks amazing. The new dungeon looks amazing. The new customization options for humans are more modern, let's say.
Dreadlocks.
Yeah,
God
man.
Damn it, dreadlocks.
It looks great. But there is one thing that we haven't touched upon with the new alpha build. And what is that, Flame? What is it?
Those are the spell changes and PvP talents, man.
Let's say just PvP talents for now.
Yeah.
One major thing, and you have to talk about, what's the biggest thing that happened?
Well, as far as I could tell, mages got gutted, man. They got gutted, shot, dead,
Yeah.
they're buried, the ceremony's over.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Everybody
the
go
fuck they're
home.
gonna do in Shadowlands. Some
happened?
of the nerfs were kind of, they kind of had to be, but it does seem a little bit overboard.
Yeah, G-Pie, I don't believe it was necessarily to be nerfed. You can easily play around it. You can CC it, interrupt it, line of sight it, whatever. But the major thing was with the temporal shield. Apparently they removed it from frost and fire, which will be interesting to see if they further add on top of that, or at least clarify. Because I don't.
Maybe they're gonna give them some more defenses, because as far as I could tell, I don't play mage, but I played against a lot of mages, and it felt like they kind of need it. Temporal shields.
It's their only defenses, like
So-
apart from their normal
Ice
spec
barrier.
shield and the ice block. That's it. It's not much to it. Anyways, I think on the good news is that
Yes, the DKs
DKs
get the 60% AMZ back. Well, not really back, because they did bring
Shadowlands has it at
anti-magic.
20.
Yeah, anti-magic zone made it 20% for PV because it was broken 60% for PV, but PvP needs a little bit more.
Yeah.
And we got that 60% into the PvP town, which is good. Which is good to see. Good to see.
yeah, and Havoc. Havoc Demon Hunters didn't quite have everything they needed in PvP, right? So, can you spot what the one thing that Havoc Demon Hunters missed in PvP?
The reason why you wanted a monk pair with it, or a DK pair with it, or a warrior pair with it, or a rogue pair with it, maybe?
Hunter sometimes. Mortal Strike. So, sure, just bring in the mobility, the survivability, the damage, the cleave, the CC, and add on top of it some Mortal Strike for Havoc. I don't know what
Hey
the
man,
hell is happening.
double havoc healer is gonna be a thing. I see it coming.
Yeah, I think it's too much, but we're not here to talk about all of the PvP changes and the impact they have on the game, because we're not playing at higher levels.
Or the dev that's playing havoc.
One thing is for certain here, we had new alpha builds, and it contained no flame and no Marcelian
Where the
invites.
flames, where the Marcelians at?
Yeah, we're still waiting on our invites for the alpha to proper give out some, testing. And on top of that, we are hugely blessed for having Stan, the
Oh my
Patreon.
God. Stan, the Patreon, giving us footage over and over again to, you know, show you guys like kind of what it is because, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely people like him and you guys who are our Patreons. You know who you are, who keep making this support effort for our content month by month. Thank you so much. I know it's pretty cliche at this point to say thank you to the Patreons, but really, trust me, it's been something that we have been committed to ever since we got our first Patreon. It doesn't matter if it's going to be from now or 10 years from now. We're still going to thank you all and individually on Discord or whatever.
Means a lot, guys. Means a lot. And also, we are grateful for the Patreons, but you can also look down below in the description. You'll find another link, and that is for our Teespring official website where we can sell some of the merch that Marcelian gratefully designed. It's really cool. It's hand-drawn. If you didn't believe it, it is hand-drawn. And there's one with a jailer, but you can find stickers, mugs with Alliance, Horde, and really cool
wall-related stuff. Wall-related stuff. It's a win-win. You get to get yourself a nice t-shirt or hoodie or mug or whatever. And in the same time, you can support the channel by doing that. So thank you once again for everything that you do, for viewing the videos, for commenting, liking, disliking. We take it all in, baby. And with that,
see you in the next one.
Have a great weekend, guys. Mwah.
Bye.